Welcome to PRINCE2 7 Practitioner course. This is module number 1. A little bit about One World Training. One World Training is a global training, business simulation, and training company, and we have offices in the United States, UK, the Netherlands, India, Malaysia, UAE, South Africa, and many other countries globally. We provide training in IT, business management, project management, ISO standards, and other standards and other trainings for both individuals and organizations. We deliver courses in different ways. We offer public classroom-based training, online training, e-learning, blended approaches, and so on. And we do offer trainings for both private and government organizations. We are an authorized training center, and we are endorsed by leading global professional bodies. And a few of our endorsements are there on this particular slide. Now, PRINCE2 7 Practitioner would cover 4 key learning outcomes. We would understand how to apply the PRINCE2 principles in context. That would be covered in the first few modules. And then we would move on to learning outcome 2, wherein we will try to understand how to apply effective people management in successful projects. Learning outcome number 3 is all about understanding how to apply and tailor relevant aspects of PRINCE2 practices in context. And finally, learning outcome number 4 is about understanding how to apply and tailor relevant aspects of PRINCE2 processes in context. So it's all about application of principles, people management components, practices, and PRINCE2 processes. So let's move on to module number 1. In this module, we will analyze the PRINCE2 principles, and this would cover the scope for learning outcome number 1, understanding how to apply the PRINCE2 principles in context. So what is it that we're going to cover? We're going to analyze the application of PRINCE2 principles. There are 7 principles, and we would cover these 7 principles in greater detail. Let's begin with the first one, ensure continued business justification. Now, there must be a justifiable reason. There has to be a reasonable cause for starting a project. Why is it that we're investing on a particular initiative? And the justification must remain valid and be revalidated throughout the life cycle of the project. It's not just that we need validation at the start, but we need to revalidate that throughout the life cycle of the project because circumstances will change. The business justification drives decision making to ensure that the project remains aligned with the benefits sought and contributes to business outcomes or business objectives. Now, organizations that lack rigor in business justification may find that projects proceed even when there are a few real benefits or when a project has only tentative associations with the business strategy. Now, poor alignment with business strategy can also result in organizations having a portfolio of projects that have inconsistent or duplicated objectives. Some additional thoughts. Compulsory projects, such as those driven by legislation or regulation, still require justification for the chosen approach to ensure it represents the best value for money. An example would be in the context of healthcare, let's say, for example, there are certain projects that we need to undertake to make sure that we comply with the healthcare regulations. But even these projects would require justification for the chosen approach to ensure that it represents the best value for money. And all parties involved in the project will need a balance between expected benefits, costs, and risks for them to have business justification for their involvement. In other words, the expected benefits should outweigh the expected cost and risk. Now, the justification for a project may change. Therefore, it's important that what the project is delivering remains consistent with the evolving justification. If continuing with the project can no longer be justified, then it should be stopped and end in a controlled way. Now, canceling a project in these circumstances is a positive contribution to the business because the funds and resources can be reinvested in other more worthwhile projects. Now, after the project is completed, the project should be reviewed to evaluate if the benefits have materialized sufficiently to warrant the final investment and what lessons can be learned from the project. Now, let me just give you a few examples. Below are the next slide has got a few examples. So here are a few examples of the application of ensuring business justification principle. Now, for a commercial project with one or more customers and suppliers, each party will need to have a clear justification to undertake the project and to continue with it. The customer may want to enhance market share by introducing a new product, and the supplier, on the other hand, might want to include non-financial benefits such as gaining an impressive customer reference for promotional purposes or building experience in applying new technologies. Another example, for a co-owned project such as a governmental one, to jointly develop a new IT system across a number of agencies. If the business justification is lost for one or more parties, these parties should consider ending their participation in the project. In this case, the consequences of ending or withdrawing participation in the project, such as contractual obligations, will inform the decision, and any approach to prematurely close the project. And throughout the project, each investing party will need to keep monitoring their own business justification to ensure that the project is still worthwhile for them. Moving on to the second one, learn from experience. Now, a common feature of projects is that they include an element of uniqueness, and this makes projects challenging, as a temporary team may not have experience of project quite like the one being undertaken. And therefore, to overcome these challenges, project teams need to find ways to learn from experience of others and from the experience gained from the project as it develops. Now, learning kind of happens throughout the life cycle of the project. It happens at the start, during the project, and as the project closes. Now, when we start the project, we could look into previous or similar projects. We could review them to see if lessons could be applied. If the project is the first for the people within the business, or if there is any content which is new or novel, then it is even more important to learn from others. This could include projects delivered by people or organizations external to the business to identify relevant lessons. Now, as the project progresses, the project team should continue to learn. Lessons should be included in relevant reports and reviews and included at the end of each stage. Now, the goal is to seek opportunities to implement improvements during the life of the project. The retrospective technique is an example of gathering lessons in agile approach. Now, as we close the project, the team should share the insights gained during the project.